Once you have a rough mix of everything, you'll make a million different versions of playlists and drive around on different days so you have fresh ears and just see what feels the best. Testing out different sequences in different environments, doing like a fake mastering job myself.
This is a lot of work. I mean, I'm sure you already know this, but this is an incredibly lots of work.
Not everybody's like so intense as I am.
Welcome to The Details. This is a show where an artist discusses 5 special details from a recent release with me, Molly Mary O'Brien. Here's Sadie Dupuis, aka Sad13, talking about haunted painting.
There's like so many layers on this stuff, and it would have been really hard for me to just track an entire album that way. Whereas if I could focus on like a 2 or 3 song session once a month, it gave me a lot of time to practice different synth layers and bass layers and guitars, of course.
Is this a pretty chill pace for you for getting something like that together, or is that kind of the norm at this point?
This is like definitely the most work-intensive album I've done, just because there are so many layers. There are Speedy records that we knocked out really, really quickly in studio. The first full band record, we did like 4 days of tracking for like 14 songs. It's really fun. It gives you a certain kind of energy, but it doesn't allow the kind of like scheming and tinkering and automating one sound to like do something very slowly and then change in the other direction. That is kind of how I like to work now.
I had read in an interview that you had done talking about instruments that you had used on the album, including toys and trash. I want to know more about the toys and trash.
Every studio you go to has like a little collection of random percussion toys or like synth, just toys that make fun sounds. One of my biggest influences is the band Self, which is the producer Matt Mahaffey, and he has like a whole album that he basically only used toy instruments. If a studio had something fun that I either hadn't used before or hadn't used a lot, found a way to get it onto the record. One of the studios, Figure 8 in Brooklyn, where I did the 2 kind of orchestral sounding songs, just had a bunch in their like percussion toys closet. Usually it's like a box. They had a whole closet. All these like weird metal items. So there was a lot of like scraping metal on metal to create basically scraping feedback sounds that would be like a Foley sound for a horror movie or something. And one of the cool things about doing the record at this pace was like I made the demos, but I kind of knew where I was going to be re-recording tracks. So I could say like, oh, they have this particular like obscure instrument. Let me make a MIDI version of that I can recreate there.
That's so cool. I didn't realize that it's kind of like pre-planned.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to the demos of these songs, they basically sound... Some days I'm like, why did I spend money to like go to all these places? Like, studio time's really expensive. You can't... If you want to make really layered music, you need a lot of time to try different things out and know what kind of sound you want and what exact supplemental melody is going to work well.
You can't, fuck around, basically.
Sitting at home is free. I can fuck around all day long here.
That's great.
As I've learned in the past year.
Yeah. I wanted to ask about the lyric, what is the drama? Where did that come from? I think it's the one that like has stuck with me personally the most when I've been listening to this album.
That's one where I was like, I know this one's good. I had it in my head for like 2 years. Speedy did a tour with this band Caramelos, who I love a lot, and they would say that all the time. The show's delayed, like, what's the drama with that? It's just like, what's up with that? I think I kind of had the, like, what is the drama? Like, stuck in my head, but without any meaning attached to it. It was just something we were saying on tour all the time. And then I had read some article just about, like, climate gentrification and the, like, perspective of the, like, super wealthy who just have no care for the repercussions of how that wealth is accrued. So it became like a sort of sardonic parody of what someone who doesn't care about the violent repercussions of their like business actions. What's the drama? Like, I burned down the rainforest.
What's the big deal?
Just moved to space.
Ending the album with Market Hotel.
Yeah.
What a funny song. I really liked it, and I wanted to ask if there was like a story behind it.
I wrote it 5 years ago because my band from when I was a teenager was like plotting maybe getting back together. So I wrote us like a theme song. I'm just an old dirtbag. Sneak me inside of your backpack. you know the band Krill? They had a song called Theme from Krill. I think of like Wilco, who has like Wilco the song. I wrote the song to be like our eponymous like theme song for my old band. And then we didn't get back together, but I was like, but the song is so good. There's like a kind of a fake out ending on Haunted Painting where there's like the sad ballad. I'm really averse to ending an album on the song that seems like it should be the ending song. So
Yeah.
I was happy to have Market Hotel kind of in my back pocket to make the true ending.
And I have to ask about the tea as merch for this.
Yeah.
How, like, where did that come from?
I've wanted to do a hot sauce merch for like maybe 5 years. I've been talking to Dragon's Blood Elixir, who did the hot sauce with me on this album. We were going to do one for the second like full band Speedy Ortiz album, and then we got scared off because it would have just been difficult to tour with them.
Oh no.
Once it was clear I was going to do an album without like any immediate touring, it's like perfect time to do the hot sauce. So we did that. And then I was like, this is so fun, like food merch. You know, I like play music and that's like my work. As far as things I'm like a big fan of, it's always like restaurants. Like when I'm on tour, I'm just like, oh, I'm so excited I'm in Atlanta because this is my favorite breakfast. So Craft Tea is a local tea genius, is honestly the truth. He would just drop off different samples of mixes he'd made to the specifications of like what he thought the album sounded like and the things I told him that I liked in teas. And actually he just dropped off some samples to me yesterday for a new one that we're working on. I haven't tried it yet. So
Cool. I would imagine that's a huge trip to like drop something off that's like, here's a potion that when you pour hot water on it, it's what I think your album tastes like. Like, that's wild.
At some point with like a nitro, like a handheld nitro thing, and he was like, I'm gonna make you nitro iced tea. Like standing like 6 feet away from me, he'd be like, all right, now close your door. And he left it on the front door, and I'd like, you know, it was like a whole,
That's so
it was
wonderful.
a really fun experience.